You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. In today's episode, me and Pat are going to discuss the 76ers' reported interest in Zach LaVine. We're also going to talk about, since James Harden was traded to the Western Conference, where does the 76ers now sit and how does it change the Eastern Conference? And Dalen Terry gets his third-year option picked up. Future superstar there. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150. If your team wins, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Pat, the James Harden trade went down, which we'll talk about that and kind of the implications on the Eastern Conference now that the Philadelphia 76ers didn't really get a lot that's going to really, I think, help them right away. But we'll talk about the plan there. Well, part of that plan is apparently the Philadelphia 76ers are hoping to use a lot of the trade assets that they got back in this James Harden trade to either trade for a star by this trade deadline or absorb a contract in the offseason that they're looking to do. Zach LaVine, OG Anunoby have been mentioned by Chris Mullinix, I think is his name, from Sports Illustrated as the two players that he's heard that the Philadelphia 76ers may target. When you hear about that with Zach LaVine, you know what the Philadelphia 76ers can offer. Do you think that that's a deal that the Bulls would take for Zach if this thing falls apart by the trade deadline?
So Sports Illustrated just done talking about sports that matter, huh? Like
Yep.
They just have given up on actually, trying to be a factual sports source because this makes no sense.
Keep in mind, me and you both have been quoted by Sports Illustrated within the last 8 months, so they are really looking for news where they can. You forgot
have we?
that?
I don't even remember being quoted by Sports Illustrated.
I was on there for Bulls, and they quoted you for Bears like the next week. So
I put that out of my mind. Apparently, no. I mean, listen, not phenomenal articles. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really think they're elite. Now, I have no regulation of this. No, but honestly, I don't think that the Bulls are looking to move on from Zach, no matter what kind of the situation is in any blow it up scenario, even, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that they've invested enough in Zach and he's on enough of a team friendly deal that if he came to them and he was like, I'm done, I could see them then trying to find him a trade partner and moving on from him. But outside of that, I really do believe that the Bulls are kind of content with having Zach LaVine here. Take that for what you will, right? Like whatever the ceiling is on that, I don't know. But I look at Zach LaVine. I don't know if I look at him as that concerned that he's going to go on and be Jimmy Butler anymore. But I still look at Zach LaVine as a guy that there's not a ton of guys who can go out there and put up 50 on a night. Now, he does do it versus the Pistons kind of often. But, going out there and being able to put up 50-plus points is not something that you just scoff at. And it's not a player that I think the Bulls are going to be quick to try and move on from. DeMar DeRozan, maybe. I could see Ayo being included in that. P. Will for sure. I mean, I almost feel like P. Will for sure now, but then, I just don't know anymore because it's like, I'd move on from P. Will, but AK probably just still loves this guy and believes he's got Kawhi potential on the other side. And every year we start, he's going to start off with one of those Bulls, Bulls Outside, whatever that little show is called that they have on YouTube, where it's just AK in the beginning going, we just really believe in Pat, and Pat's going to be able to come out and do some good things for us, and we want to see him do more. I could see them moving a lot of pieces before they move on from Zach LaVine, because at worst, when you find whoever that number one guy is, and hopefully you're able to do it sooner than later, Zach LaVine's a great asset to have on the team along with that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that I think we've heard before where, the trade rumors around Zach. Zach even saying this offseason, he tends to believe that sometimes where there's some smoke, there's some fire, but he also ended that by saying he thinks he's going to be in Chicago for a long time. I don't think the Philadelphia 76ers can offer the type of deal that would make sense for the Bulls. We've heard that they want 2 first-round picks, a young star, a young player, and and salary cap filler, a veteran. So like, it'd be different if the Sixers were looking to move Maxey. They're looking to add to Maxey and Joel Embiid, and because of that, I don't really see that Zach LaVine fits that. OG makes a lot more sense for them. I think both teams, for the Raptors and the 76ers, that makes a little bit more sense there, especially if they maybe want Tobias Harris. But for the Bulls, I don't see it, bro. I just don't see it.
I just don't see a reason why the Bulls would want to help out the Sixers either, right? Like, it's not like you're getting back this great haul from the Sixers, like what they sent over, right? If you're just trying to do a bodies flip, pretty much, I mean, no Dwight, you're pretty much in a situation here where, what are you getting back? Norman Powell and who they even send over in the Harden trade? I gotta remember now.
It was Norman Powell, Marcus Morris.
Was Covington in there?
Yes, Robert Covington was part of that trade as well.
Yeah. How many first-round picks?
KJ Martin as well. I do like KJ Martin, but he only makes like $1.8 million. But yeah, that was the trade.
I mean, how many picks you sending me?
That's the thing. Like,
that's the conversation where we start. And I'm not starting with any of the players. You sending me Norman Powell? Great. And thanks for Norman Powell. How many picks you sending me?
I mean, I guess, that's the place where you really got to start asking. And so, and especially the thing that I look at too is that, keep in mind, if the Bulls are trading Zach LaVine, that means that is a rebuild. The Philadelphia 76ers picks at that point ain't going to be nothing special. Neither will the Clippers, theoretically. Well, the Clippers could be, because they probably are going to fall off a cliff pretty quickly.
I don't know about that, but we'll see.
Between their core 3 players, they have a half a good knee. Like, I'm just saying, bro. Like,
only person with healthy knees on the team is Russ.
Oh man.
Did you see that video where Russ lost like 10 grand real quick, by the way, just going double or nothing because he's trying to shoot jumpers?
That sounds like a very Russ thing.
I assumed it was that much, but somebody quoted and said that much. And he kept saying, I do this all day. And he's like, double or nothing, bet, and shot a corner 3 and missed.
That's funny.
Triple or nothing, and shot a corner 3 and missed.
That's actually pretty funny. That's actually pretty funny.
God.
But with that said, with the Philadelphia 76ers thing, before we end this segment, I also want to talk about the Miami Heat and Brooklyn Nets were listed as the number 1 and number 2 odds-on favorites to land Zach LaVine. I think it was by betting AG, if he's moved during the season by the trade deadline. Now, Miami, we've already kind of talked about their assets when we were talking about the Dame Lillard trade, but the Brooklyn Nets. Now, if the Brooklyn Nets were to sneak in there, are they a team that you think have enough assets that the Bulls would be interested in if they try to land Zach LaVine?
If the Brooklyn Nets are dumb enough to send me the package that I'm looking for, I would love to trade with the Brooklyn Nets.
So you're looking for packages?
I'm looking for trade packages.
Okay.
Looking for trade packages.
You gotta add that clarity there.
Yeah. No, I just like I see young potential on that team. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, they keep bringing Cam Thomas off the bench, send him my way.
Cam Thomas averaging over 30 points per game so far.
Off of the bench, they won't start him, bro.
Bro, like Cam Thomas is that dude can outright score the ball. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I don't think that they're going to be looking to move Cam. Like, and he only makes $2.6 million, so they would have to have quite a bit of salary filler. But I tell you what, if the Bulls were to get involved with Brooklyn Nets and we bring back Cam Thomas, I'm cool with that.
I feel like I'd even take a Malik. Which Malik?
Mikal Bridges.
Mikal Bridges. That's what I was thinking. Mikal Bridges, right back. Like, and I feel like that if they finally realize, right, Cam Thomas is their best player and they probably need to put him on the floor. I think that's one where can you have Cam Thomas and Mikal Bridges operating at the same time? But again, this is pie in the sky trade scenarios, right? Like, if they would be willing to have those talks, I'd be interested in them because they still own, don't they own a ton of picks now, pretty much from the KD, Kyrie, and
they have a lot of
Philly
picks. So they have a lot of picks that they can offer. I think that's the thing there. And they have because we know the Bulls said they want a young piece back too. They have young pieces that they can offer back, fairly young pieces. So listen, the thing about Cam Thomas though is that he's 6'3", right? And he plays shooting guard for that team. It's a pie in the sky.
I want somebody that can put up 33
points
a game. I ain't gonna lie.
That's true.
Now, what I will say about Cam Thomas is he did that didn't he have a run like this last season, right before they all made the trade, and then he got figured out, and nobody ever heard from him again after that season. So maybe this is the pie in the sky moment. Maybe he was hurt. I don't know, but hey, I don't think Zach LaVine's going anywhere. That's how this segment's going.
I mean, that's what it boils down to. He's not going anywhere. But next up, we're going to be talking about the impact that the James Harden trade has on the Eastern Conference. But before we get into that, got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is FanDuel. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. And speaking of our team, right now, the Chicago Bulls on that same money line are +5 in their matchup today against the Dallas Mavericks. So if you want to get that bet in, you could net yourself a little bit more back if you end up winning that bet. So while me and Pat don't necessarily bet, hey, we would love to see you guys get a win there. So there you go. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon, LOCKEDON, FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, Pat. So James Harden now is leaving the 76ers, going to the Los Angeles Clippers. He actually already reported there today. And in a trade, even though I like what they were able to get back with draft picks and things like that, considering everyone kind of knew that there was no salvaging that relationship. Yeah. So the 76ers were really negotiating from a weekend standpoint. But it's hard to not argue that the 76ers are now a worse team than what they were. How do you think that changes the Eastern Conference?
Are they worse?
Yeah, they're worse.
I don't know if I view them as worse.
So you're losing your leading guy with assists, your second leading scorer.
He hasn't been there this year at all.
True, but I mean, I'm talking about from last year. I mean, the season. Yeah.
I get that, but you had lost him already. Like he wasn't going to be a part of this team in the slightest, and now you got bodies that you could throw in there. Like, listen, I don't love the names, but Norman Powell is a guy that can come in and play, what he played 16, 17 minutes last year and still was able to put up 13 points, something like that. Yeah, I mean, year before that, and now, of course, because of all the changes that happened with that Clippers team where Rush shows up over there and all of that, right? Like he ends up getting less time in retrospect, but I mean, like in Norman Powell's a guy that was able to cook. Like, I feel like the 76ers got a little bit better just by the fact that they have bodies now that they can put on the floor.
We're talking about from last year. This season has barely started.
I mean, I guess from like James Harden, I guess. Yeah, sure. I don't know, dog.
Like, neither one of us really care for James Harden much, so I understand that. But like,
as a player, he's a very good basketball player.
True. Well, in the regular season specifically, he's going to fall off a cliff in the playoffs every single year. But I mean, you got to look at James Harden was a major part of that. Now the team's also changing with a new head coach. But last year, James Harden for them averaged. How much did he average? Let's see. He averaged 21 points per game. 10.7 assists per game. Yeah. Shout out to him. 1 steal per game. And he did that in, and he was shooting the 3-pointer at 38% clip and 44% overall. So I mean, that is considerable production that I don't care what they get back.
Even to that though, right? Even to that. What he did, though, was force a young player to not be able to be a part of the starting lineup. Now, Doc Rivers is a moron for that. He forced the young player to not be a part of your starting lineup. That young player is Tyrese Maxey. He stepped in this season and given you 30 points per game. And I want to say 7 assists. Like,
6.3 assists, 6.7 rebounds.
Jesus Christ. like He's giving you how many rebounds? I didn't even look at the rebounds. Like,
yeah, that's crazy. Considering
like
he's
literally,
6'2".
like I honestly believe Philly, and I said this when the season started, Philadelphia got better by subtraction. Also, the fact that Tyrese Maxey, and I know this is crazy, doesn't mind passing the basketball to Tobias Harris.
Well, Tobias is also another player that reportedly wants out of Philly too. So we'll see if that ends up happening.
Over me. Hey,
but
that's the greatest thing of all time. Bro. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. But since I mean, even with that, right? Like Tobias's play has been better this season. Joel Embiid is Joel Embiid. There's not much you can say about his play getting better. And now you get those bodies on the team. I actually do think that the Philadelphia 76ers are a better basketball team this season than they were last season by subtracting James Harden from the team.
Okay, and that's fair. That's sometimes it is addition by subtraction. Now the question is,
that's the fact.
Now you're now Tyrese Maxey, who still started more games than he didn't start last season. I think he only didn't start 20 out of the games he played.
James was hurt.
Yeah, so
a good chunk of the season last year too.
But
yeah.
I mean, James Harden also played 58, which is still crazy for the Clippers. They got 3 stars that none of them have played over 65 games in literally like 5 years.
Hey, bro. Hey, and they can't sit none of them. They're all are they all a part of the you can't sit this player? I think so, right?
Yeah, because James Harden's been an all-star within. Yeah. Well, has Paul George been an all-star recently?
PG, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
He's not. I don't remember.
Court. It's had to have been within the last 2 years, though.
That's tough.
Hey, that's tough. They can't sit none of them.
That's tough.
Hey, training staff it'll be like they about to Tanya Harding some of these ones. They about to, just straight face mask, bro. Just straight face mask, just like pink.
He said Tanya Harding.
Hey, they about to Tanya Harding some of these mugs, bro. They're gonna be like, you need 10 games off. Pink.
That's crazy.
And he swole up, didn't it? That's crazy.
That's crazy. I mean, and then so they are now moving Tyrese Maxey to the starting lineup. He scored 20 points per game for them. They did sign Kelly Oubre Jr. They still got Pat Bev down there. So listen, Kelly Oubre Jr. also, I think so far is averaging close to like 20 points per game off the bench for them too. So maybe you're right. A great perspective on that, Pat.
And listen, I don't like them, right? Like I'm not a 70. Yeah. It's not like I want the Sixers to be better, but like when I watched them play versus who did play first game? Was it Boston or was it Milwaukee? One of them, they played the first game. I was sitting there and I was like, this team's better than I thought it was going to be. Like I thought that this team would be better based on the fact that Harden wasn't there in the situation. But I didn't think that they would. I didn't think that I would be sitting here like, no, they'll be able to maintain their top 3 status
and
in the Eastern Conference.
You still think they're going to be top 3 in the Eastern
I think
Conference?
if Tyrese Maxey keeps getting everybody involved the way that he is as a starting PG, and on top of that, he's able to score the basketball as well, they might be. I mean, like Boston has no depth, and now Philly has massive depth.
You think they have massive depth?
I mean, you got 3 players that now can come off your bench. You can go 8 deep. That's more depth than Boston has.
Anybody can have players to come off the bench. How do you think they're going to perform, though?
Well,
right?
I think Norman Powell's a solid player. I think Robert Covington is solid as well.
We both keep saying Norman Powell. They got Nick. Did they get Norman Powell? They got Nicholas Batum.
Did they get Batum or Powell?
It's Batum. I think we both mixed up.
I feel like how did we mess that up?
I think we both dropped the ball a little bit on that.
We've been 8 minutes into a podcast, and these mothers are like they just said Norman Powell 17 times, bro. Oh, that's very different. Never mind. Hold on, let me.
I have no idea what made it click in my brain because you're right. We both said it like 15 times. I'm just like, wait a second.
Did they really get Nick Batum?
It's Nick Batum. So they got Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, and Kenyon Martin Jr. That's the players that they got.
Hold on. Say it again.
Marcus Morris, Robert Covington.
That's a solid player off the bench. Covington, solid off the bench.
Robert Covington, Nick Batum, and Kenyon Martin Jr.
Kenyon Martin Jr. solid off the bench too. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know if I feel as good about that unit as I did when I thought Norman Powell was a part of it. If I'm not mistaken, I think Nick Batum played like 26 minutes a game last year and averaged like 4 points a game. Bro. Like,
So Nick Batum last year averaged 21 minutes per game and averaged 6 points per game.
Yeah.
That's a far cry from Norman Powell.
Yeah, that's not Norman Powell, my boy.
Yeah,
I don't know, bro. That's a tough.
Changing some things. Now, with that said,
still think that they're solid.
With that said, Marcus Morris still double-digit off points per game last season. Now, he did start for the Clippers last season. He's not going to be starting for this 76ers team, but he's no slouch. So,
see, this is what doggone Woj did to us, bro. You dropping this news at 1 o'clock in the morning, bro, with no context. Went right back to sleep after the news dropped.
Woke up 3. He literally took him an old man nap because he woke up 3 hours later and then added clarity to the tree.
Hey, said James Harden ain't there no more.
You know how I imagine it? I imagine it that Woj was literally drifting off to sleep. And he got his source hit him up. And he was like, I got to tweet this. He tweeted it. As soon as he pressed send, he fell asleep. And then he woke back up. You know, like sometimes you wake back up and don't realize you were asleep. He woke back up, didn't realize any time had passed, and went ahead and finished out giving us the information.
Now, you ever be laying in the bed and you don't realize how tired you is? You like scrolling through social media and then you like wake up 20 minutes later with like your thumb holding down a tweet or something like that, bro.
Yeah,
like, that's
for sure.
That's what happened to Woj last night, bro. That's so funny. He threw us all off. We thought Nick Batum was on, or we thought Norman Powell was on the team. That's on us. That's all right. We dropped the ball on that. I still think the Sixers could be solid, though. I do think that.
Do you think they can make an Eastern Conference Finals?
Oh, it's the Sixers, though, and Nick Nurse. You know what? I would say that, yes, they can make an ECF because I don't believe that Boston has enough depth. Boston's 8th player off of the bench. I don't care who, right? Like Nick Batum getting in the game, right, is still better than Luke Cornett getting the last 8 minutes.
I mean,
and that's their 8th player that gets tick on the team. Like it's literally like the starting 5, and then Luke Cornett is getting 8 to 10 minutes a game.
I mean, facts are facts, bro. So yeah, I guess we'll see, man. But I want to remind you guys, Norman Powell, we really spent 16 minutes of a podcast. Norman Powell. That's crazy. We want to remind you guys that Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube and the Odyssey app. Let's get into this last topic, Pat. Dalen Terry, the future G League MVP, got his option picked up by the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, we want to let you guys know that you can follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat The Designer. Make sure to check out Subtext, where you can text me and Haize.
Email you back?
He did. He said, I'm not in the office. Like, that's literally what he emailed me back. I don't care. Like, Dalen Terry, listen, it's like you said when we talked on the phone earlier. Dalen Terry is freaking, he's too young for them to give up on. Mm-hmm. That's the only logical. Here's the worst part about this, and I felt bad because the tweet actually got like a little bit of traction. Was Casey Johnson tweeted this out like 2 minutes after Montez Sweat had been traded to the Bears, and I was like, KC, the Bears are doing stuff right now, not right now. Like, get out of here. Like,
run along.
You ever seen that clip from Family Guy where like everybody puts their hand in the middle and like Seamus puts the peg arm in there? Yeah. He's like, no, not you. Like, that's how I felt like I did Casey Johnson on this one, bro. I hope Dalen develops. He's 21 years old, 20 years old. Like, he's a massively young player. But he looked like he can't play ball, bro. He looks like he doesn't run well on a basketball court, which is, I guess, let me ask you this. Does it seem like Dalen Terry has regressed, and what is the reason for that? Do we need to look at?
Listen, we haven't seen the man play enough to say that he's regressed.
Well,
like,
what I mean
from what?
Well, what I mean is, right, last year, remember, right, like the Bulls got a little banged up, and we saw Dalen Terry start to get a couple of games of good minutes, and we were like, okay, like he belongs on an NBA court. He's energy, he's defense, he's fire. He doesn't look like he can shoot the 3 ball at all. But it seems like even from that, we're not getting that. Like Dalen Terry literally looks like he's stepping on Legos trying to like play defense. Like he looks like he can't play ball no more. And at least last year it was like maybe he could be like a rim runner and a defender.
Well, I don't know when you're talking about. So let's go over like in November last season.
I want to say it was a Bucks game that we were playing.
He played 4 games. Over those 4 games, he had 3 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, and 4 minutes. He averaged 2.5 minutes per game for the month of October. I'm sorry, that's October. For the month of November, he averaged 3.8 minutes per game. For the month of December, 4.8 minutes per game. For the month of January, 1 minute per game. For the month of February, he did average 10 minutes per game in the month of February.
I was gonna say, I know he got a game in there where he played.
That's the way you're talking about.
We talked about it.
February 16th, he played 27 minutes against the Milwaukee Bucks.
I'm not tweaking.
He went 6 for 12 and scored 13 points. And then he followed that up a week later with 10 minutes against the Brooklyn Nets and went 3 of 3 and scored 11 points.
I'm telling you, like,
Listen,
and I'm not saying.
All I can say is that all that tells me is every dog has their day.
No, but what I'm saying is like it's not a massive sample size, and I'm not sitting here telling you that that's who Dalen Terry was going to be, but he looked like he could exist on an NBA court or at least
he looks
a
like he can
basketball
exist
court
now too. To suck, like I just yo.
Did you just call Dalen Terry a throat goat, bro? What?
No context is everything. Legitimately, wasn't trying to make that joke this time. Like that's crazy. But
what does he exist to do?
Here's the thing.
This man lives for one thing.
But all jokes aside,
if Dalen is a vampire for Halloween, that's the problem.
That's funny. The only thing that the way that I look at it is what you said. Like he's too young to give up on yet, and hopefully now having a player development staff and things like that, the best comes out of it. But for anyone who's surprised by this, is like why are we picking up the option? The Bulls are always going to pick up the option.
Yeah.
Is it a weird timing now to do it? Yeah, because I don't believe they had to pick up the option until.
He wasn't a part of the deadline.
I think it's like, yes, it's not. It's literally not until like February 15th or something like that. Like, we all knew you were going to pick up the 3rd-year option, but what are we doing here, bro?
Hey, bro, they said the Bears are making news. We'll never have a better time for nobody to care about this. Meanwhile, we here at Locked On Bulls are covering everything the Bulls do.
Absolutely. But listen, here's the thing. I know a lot of people try to write players what they're going to be already too soon. It's way too soon to do that for Dalen. I understand every concern that anybody can have about Dalen Terry. I understand that. I'm not saying anybody's wrong for having a concern on if he's even going to be an NBA player. You say it looks like he walks on Legos. I'll tell you what, it looks even worse than that. It looks like he's running on marbles out there sometimes. It's just bound to fail. So, let's hope that, that with the development, things like that, because last year in the G League, his G League numbers were excellent last year. So let's hope that the reps help him develop, continue working on that shot, and we'll see what it ends up coming after. I'll tell you what, I'm right now currently I'm more excited about Batum and I'm more excited about Julian Phillips. I can say that.
Oh yeah, we do got Unalot Batum. I forgot about that.
Exactly.
Unalot Batum. Obi.
Unalot.
Yeah, I'm definitely more excited about them. Oof, man. If this team does blow it up, at least we got some players that we kind of want to look forward to seeing, but
hey,
it might get ugly.
That's what we're saying to Dalen Terry's the starting 2 guard, and we're like, hey, how did we get here? What happened?
You like squint, you're like, I'm sorry, is that Dalen? Is that I said Antonio Blakeney. I swear to God, I said Antonio Blakeney.
Funny.
I can see it.
Before we go, I got just to throw this in here before we leave. The Chicago Bulls unveiled their court for the in-season tournament games, which the first one is going to be this Friday against the Brooklyn Nets. The theme is See Red. They're really embracing that. I know that's always been something that we've said as fans. They're really embracing it as like a secondary motto for the team. What do you think about that court, Pat?
I thought the court was lit. I thought I love the red. I love the fact that they got to be a lot more creative with the court as well. And all the teams did it. The worst one that I saw was absolutely the Pelicans. That looked like vomit.
The Hornets looked like crap to me too. I didn't like the Hornets one.
I mean, you talk about the team or the never mind, don't worry about it.
I mean, both it can apply to both. There you go.
No, but yeah, they're not going to get much use out of that court for the in-season tournament. But I thought that it was, it's very festive, seemed a lot of fun, and I might actually have to go to a game to see it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I might actually have to go to a game to see that in person.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to look at the in-season tournament games and see, because I may have to come up and go too, because it really does look. I like how they have the trophy with the Bulls logo on it. The gold on the red looks really good too. I tell you what, I'm more excited about seeing that court than these City Edition jerseys, because Lord have mercy.
I'm doing that tomorrow.
I know you're going to the event tomorrow.
Can I talk about that?
Yes, you can.
Is that an open event or was that a private? It's a private event.
It's a private event, but they're also released. It's also being released publicly that day too.
Yeah,
so.
We'll talk about that tomorrow as well. I got to see what's going on with that. I don't know. If I don't come home with a jersey, I'm gonna be upset.
They better give you.
Hey, that jersey look crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's ugly. But at least you can have it. It's ugly, but
maybe it looked better in person. Remember we said that about last year's?
Last year's was just not up to the par of what we had the 4 years before.
Yeah.
This jersey legitimately looks like Big Kev's wife made it.
Oh no, bro. Not the Adidas shiny joint, bro.
Like it looks just like that, bro. Like the same Asian lady that made that jersey is the same one that made this one, bro. But
that's tough. Hey,
I make fresh for you. But other than that, it's time to get out of here, bro.
We almost made it. It's been a fun run.
Bro, you made a Dwight Howard joke 3 minutes into the show. It's okay, bro. It's all right.
I feel like Dwight's free game. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like Dwight did.
The problem is that he thought people were free game too.
Okay, all right. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. The thoughts of CEO Haize are his and his alone. They do not represent Locked On.
Thank you guys for tuning in, man. You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. I want to thank you guys and remind you guys to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you're a YouTube watcher, go ahead and go over to Apple Podcast Store or Spotify. You got one of them, I'm sure. Leave a review there for us. If you're on the podcast side, just go hit the subscribe button on YouTube, even if you just listen to the podcast, to help the podcast grow. Before Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls, and we out here.
Peace,
y'all.
And we kind of elite. We just did 10 minutes on Dalen Terry.
That's wild.